Hello, and welcome to this week's election special episode. We have an exclusive interview with Headmaster Murray and the results of the 2020 presidential election. But first, some headlines. Last week, Passover was celebrated with Rabbi and members of the JSO, as well as numerous members of the Lawrenceville community. And Easter was celebrated with Rev and Headmaster Murray. Take a look.
May we be his hands and heart on the path of love and compassion this Easter. Amen.
Fifth formers Jack Sloyd and Devin Kinney are recipients of the prestigious Moorhead Cain Scholarship from the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, and the Jefferson Scholarship from University of Virginia. Now, Executive Directors Kate Deskey, Brian Chan, and I had an exclusive interview with Headmaster Murray about the implications leading to the decision of Virtual Village. Take a listen.
So the first question we want to ask was, how was the transition to virtual learning made?
So the whole decision to close campus and to move to remote learning was made before a lot of other schools who are now making that move, but we did it pretty far in advance. And the basic decision was based on what I would call the cruise ship scenario. So we were in a meeting, we had a kind of a senior leadership meeting, and we were looking at the worsening conditions. And I finally kind of said to the group, okay, let's just say we reconvene campus. Maybe we even wait 2 additional weeks after spring break. And then all we need is one symptomatic student to emerge. And that person has already been spreading, presumably, the virus for a few days, has been in the dining hall, at the salad bar, has been in the common room in the house, probably has been on a bus for an away game, at close quarters. And suddenly you have to figure out how many hundreds of kids may have been affected. How do you quarantine an entire house or multiple houses? And, we're just not set up to do that. We have common bathrooms, that just doesn't really work. And then I imagine trying to call the Department of Health saying, hey, I've got about 400 or 500 students who are likely exposed to coronavirus. Is it okay if I send them home on airplanes and public transportation, back to their hometowns? And I would imagine the Department of Health would say, absolutely not. So then we sort of have to shut campus down, and we become like a cruise ship stranded in San Francisco Harbor. And we're discussing this, and it just kind of became clear we need to close.
So it was a committee, and if so, who was on the committee?
So part of that process was establishing like a decision-making approach and having a committee. So we established, it's kind of a mouthful, but it's the ECT, the Executive COVID-19 Team. And we used we're still using a communications app called Basecamp, which consolidates our communications, and we post articles from the CDC in kind of one spot. But the group is comprised of people you might imagine, Dr. Kraut, Dean Eldridge, Mr. Hammond, who's our CFO, Dr. Cunningham, Dr. Laws, Ms. Worthy, Mr. Buckles, Ms. Barnes, Ms. Isaacson. You may not know her. She's relatively new. She's our new general counsel. Mr. Scott is head of communications, Mr. Devine, who's head of operations, Mr. Wellborn, athletic director, and me. And so it's a really thoughtful group, and we don't always agree on everything, but we have great debates and we get to good decisions, and it's been a really good experience so far.
What is an ideal virtual learning environment, especially given Lawrenceville's commitment to Harkness learning and teaching?
Yeah, so it's hard to call it ideal because it is, we truly are committed to Harkness, but given some of the shortcomings, what's the best case scenario, which I think is kind of your question. And I would say in a virtual learning environment, I think part of this experience is going to make us value all the more what we have with our Harkness approach. But in a virtual learning environment, I think, you have to have some interaction, and I'm actually really impressed with Zoom. I think it's a lot better than I thought, and you can get a fair amount done. So there is some connection there. I think the faculty have done a great job coming up with engaging assignments. And so I think there's actually a really interesting opportunity here, and I would really encourage students to take advantage of it. And I know our teachers will take advantage of it.
We most likely won't be returning to campus. What's your message to the class of 2020 as they wrap up their final moments at Lawrenceville online?
That's a great question, really good question. My message, I mean, if my heart's breaking for them, I can't imagine how they're feeling. I mean, this is a really, really tough circumstances. And part of my message to them was, classes come and go. Every class in its own way is a great class, but some are more remembered than others. And the ones that are truly remembered are the ones that have confronted unusual or unprecedented challenges. And their legacy, the way they're remembered, is based on how they stepped up and faced those challenges. And I think there's a huge opportunity for leadership here. I really sense it in this group. And I think they'll be remembered as the group that, found a way, kept it positive, and made things happen under the toughest of circumstances.
Thank you very much for talking with us today. It was really great to kind of get like the inside scoop as to what's happening behind the scenes.
Thank you so
All
much.
right. Thank you so much.
Hey, you guys. Yeah, you're welcome.
Bye.
Take care.
Bye. Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Now with more headlines. During the COVID-19 pandemic, several members of the Lawrenceville community participated in charitable efforts. Some include delivering food to families in need, donating personal protective equipment to healthcare workers, and launching campaigns to support local businesses. Great job, and thank you for your work.
Hey everyone, so it's just after the debate, and I just want to say thank you for coming out to the debate, and I was really excited to hear your feedback and your ideas for me, and especially your questions as represented by L10 and the Lawrence. I really got to better understand what the students were interested in, what they cared about, and hopefully I get the opportunity to fulfill all of the plans and ideas that we have for next year, and hopefully I'm able to change our culture, strengthen our community, and most importantly, forge a legacy for next year and over the next 365 days. So thank you very much.
Hello. I thought that today's presidential debate was great. I really appreciated the opportunity to share my vision for Lawrenceville with our community. The fact that we were able to do this virtually is a testament to our ability to adapt to new situations. This is a unique moment in time for Lawrenceville, and I'm even more excited to partner with all of you to make sure that we make Lawrenceville stronger and better than ever.
As you may know, Lawrenceville has participated in virtual voting for our next student body president. L10 will now bring you an interview with your next student body president for the 2020-2021 school year, Soleil St. Cyr.
Hey,
Hi, Soleil. Congratulations.
thank you, thank you.
Given that you've now been elected president, what would you like to say to the student body that you represent?
So I'd just like to thank you all for voting for me and for believing in the vision that I have for the school. I know that my passion really came through in my speech, and I'm happy that you all were able to see that. I'm really excited for next year. Even though it's going to be a challenge, I think that we now have a unique opportunity to create change and increase transparency between student council and the student body, and also among student council. And I think that through this, we can strengthen our bonds as a community, no matter how far away we are from each other, and also just strengthen our belief in ourselves and make sure that we are getting what we want to see done. So I'm just really excited to work with and for you all, and yeah, that's what I'm excited for.
Awesome. So what are you most excited to get started on?
I'm really excited to start speaking with the administration and getting ideas out, especially from you guys, about how we're proceeding for next year. So I want to hear everything that you guys have to say about what you think should go on to make sure that we can get back to Lawrenceville and start change as soon as we can. And I'm also excited for VP elections, just so I can see who I'll be definitely working with over the next year.
Thank you so much, Soleil. Congratulations.
Thank you.